Hello everybody, my name is Alexander Walter, trainer at Walter Consulting. In this video I want to give you an overview of the ISO 26262. ISO 26262 is an international standard for functional safety of electrical and/or electronic systems that are installed in serial production road vehicles. Before we start with the structure of the standard, let us define the term functional safety first. Functional safety is absence of unreasonable risk due to hazards caused by malfunctioning behavior of electrical or electronic systems. Malfunctioning behavior is described as failure or unintended behavior of an item with respect to its design intent. Another word we should clarify is the meaning of hazard, and also here ISO 26262 provides a definition. A hazard is described as potential source of harm, physical injury or health damage caused by malfunctioning behavior of the item. It is not possible to reduce the residual risk to zero. The goal is to reduce the risk to a reasonable risk that is accepted by the society. ISO 26262 helps to assess risks and defines corresponding measures to reduce the risk. Besides the automotive specific standard, a lot of other safety standards are available. For example, for nuclear plants, process industry or rail industry. The first version of the base standard IEC 6158 was published in 1998. The first version of ISO 26262 was published in 2011. The second edition in 2018. The second edition now includes also trucks, buses and motorcycles. Okay, then let's start with the structure of ISO 26262. The main development is described in chapter 4, 5 and 6. These chapters are integrated in an overall V model. And also at hardware and software level, a V model for development is used. Okay, let's check each chapter of the standard a bit more detailed. Chapter 1 is vocabulary and explains terms and definitions. For example, what is risk, what is a hazard, what is risk assessment, or what is a safe state. Chapter 2 is about management of functional safety. This chapter focuses on the definition of processes and responsibilities. A very important role is the safety manager. He is nominated by the project leader. The safety manager takes over the management tasks regarding functional safety. But very important to know, the project manager is still responsible for functional safety of the product. This is how ISO 26262 guarantees the focus at the highest project level. The safety manager is responsible for planning and tracking of safety activities, but he is not involved in detailed design work. He is also responsible for creation of the safety case. The safety case includes all documents which are relevant to show evidence that functional safety of the product is fulfilled. Chapter 3 describes the concept phase. This part is handled by the OEM. One task of this chapter is the item definition. The scope of application is described, as well as operation conditions, and functionalities of the product. And also the hazard analysis and risk assessment, or HARA, is described in this chapter. The HARA describes possible hazardous scenarios with potential to harm people. For the assessment of the hazardous scenarios, 3 parameters are used: severity, exposure, and controllability. Based on the assessment, the ASIL is determined. 5 categories are defined in ISO 26262: QM, ASIL A, ASIL B, ASIL C, and ASIL D. The ASIL defines the mandatory safety measures. In case of a QM rating, a general quality management is sufficient. From ASIL A to ASIL D, the safety efforts are increasing. Another point defined in this chapter is safety goals. Safety goals are top-level requirements derived from the hazard analysis and risk assessment. They are the base for creation of the functional safety concept. The functional safety concept describes mechanisms for error detection and error handling. Chapter 4 is product development at the system level. This chapter is very relevant for suppliers. The technical safety concept describes the realization of the functional safety concept. Technical safety requirements and the system architectural design are described. The system requirements are allocated to hardware and software. Chapter 5 is product development at the hardware level. In this chapter, hardware requirements defined at system level are refined. Also, the hardware design is described in this chapter. Another aspect is the calculation of the hardware matrix. Required failure rates for the matrix depend on the ASIL. And also integration and testing of the hardware is part of this chapter. Chapter 6, product development at the software level, is very similar to the hardware level. The software requirements are refined, and also the software design is described, as well as integration and testing according to the V model. Chapter 7 is production, operation, service, and decommissioning. For the production phase, requirements provided by the development teams have to be considered to avoid a violation of safety goals. And it is also relevant to define responsibilities for all phases after the development phase. A field monitoring needs to be considered, and a change management needs to be implemented. What is the change management process in case a safety issue is detected in the field? Chapter 8 is supporting processes. Supporting processes are used in several chapters of the standard to support the development. Examples are the configuration management, change management, or documentation. Chapter 9 describes ASIL-oriented and safety-oriented analysis. Examples are the failure mode and effects analysis or the fault tree analysis. These methods are used or recommended in several chapters of the standard. Chapter 10 is guidelines on ISO 26262 and is just informative for a better understanding of the other chapters. Chapter 11 is guidelines on application of ISO 26262 to semiconductors and also just informative. The chapter includes information for manufacturer of semiconductors to develop sensors or microcontrollers as safety element out of context. The last chapter, chapter 12, includes motorcycle specific information, especially regarding hazard analysis and risk assessment. I hope you have a base understanding now what functional safety is and how the structure of ISO 26262 looks like. In case you are interested to learn more about ISO 26262, please check out our e-learning courses. Our e-learning courses provide a theoretical part with detailed explanation of each chapter of the standard and exercises. In the exercises, you will learn step by step how to use ISO 26262. You can find links to our e-learning courses in the description and comments section. In case of any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. Thank you very much and see you in the next video. Your trainer, Alexander Walter.